everyone, welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today we are going to discuss an important topic of IR and geography, which is India and Northern Sea Route. So this topic is important from two perspectives, GS1 as well as GS2. So why we are discussing this topic? Because since past 2 years we can see that there is a lots of traffic jam in Suez or Panama Canal. So after that there is a new alternative have been discovered, which is Northern Sea Route, and that's why we are discussing this topic. And we are also going to discuss that what is the stake of India in this regard. So moving to the next slide. So next slide is points of discussion. So first of all, we are going to discuss the news and the relevance of the news, and then why is the Arctic region significant to India. It means that we are going to study the importance of Arctic region from India's perspective, and then what is the relationship between India's and Arctic region, how old it is. And after that we are also going to discuss about the NSR, which is Northern Sea Route, and then we are going to discuss about the Russia's contribution in NSR, and after that we are going to discuss about the driving factors for the India's participation in Northern Sea Route, and after that we are going to discuss about the way forward approach, and then we are going to discuss about the practice question for prelims and mains, and today we are going to discuss about the previous year question related to this topic. So moving to the news part. So Murmansk is a port which is also called as the capital of the Arctic region, and it is also known as the beginning point of the Northern Sea Route. So what happened that recently there was a traffic jam on Murmansk airport, and India had seen that the stake of India has increased. And how much it has increased? So it has increased by 35%, and which is 2000 kilometer of northwest of the monsoon, which is very high in numbers. So from this perspective, this news is very important, and this can come in your prelims as well as in your mains exam. So moving to the next slide. So next slide is about why is Arctic region significant to India. It means that what is the purpose, that why India is so much interested in this Northern Sea Route. So there are three reasons. The first reason is that presence of hydrocarbons in this area. The second is that presence of oil and gas. Third is the presence of coal, zinc and silver. So all these things are the materialistic reasons that India is interested for, and these all are the economic needs for India, and India wants to fulfill its economic needs through the involvement of this Northern Sea Route. But there is also a twist that according to Arctic policy of 2022, it says that those members who are interested in Arctic region and who are highly involved in Arctic region, that they need to maintain the sustainability of all the resources. It means that they had to take care of the UN sustainable goals. So whatever the resources they have to use sustainably. So moving to the next slide. So next slide is about how old is India's relationship with the Arctic region. So there was a treaty signed in 1920. The treaty is known as Treaty of Svalbard. And since then, India is active in this area because it has given certain rights of India to research in that particular area and to carry out trade and commerce in that particular area. Since that time, India is highly interested in this region, and after that time, India is taking so many scientific exploration, scientific research, and because of that, we can see there are so many developments done by India in that Arctic region. And what are the developments we can see? So it encompasses a research station which name is Himadri, and it has been opened in 2008, and it has also set up a mood observatory in 2014, and it had also set up a northernmost atmospheric laboratory in 2016, and till now it had carried 13 expedition, and India had also got this observer status in 2013 of the Arctic Council. So this is the brief about India's relationship in the Arctic region. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about what is NSR, which is Northern Sea Route. So it is said that expert says that shortest shipping route for freight transportation. And what is freight transportation? That a goods carries from one place to another place. And it is also known to connect the European countries from the Asia Pacific countries. And what is the stretch? The stretch is 5600 kilometer, and it starts from the Barents and the Kara seas and ends at the Bering Strait. So this is the route, and it starts from here. Here is the Bering Sea, here is the Baltic Sea, and here is the Kara Sea. So this is the physical diagram of this Northern Sea Route. So Moving to the next slide. So next slide is about how is Russia making the NSR navigable? It means that what is the contribution of Russia in this regard? So as you know that Arctic seas are mostly ice covered. For that you need icebreaker fleet. And Russia is the only country which has nuclear powered icebreaker fleet. And it has discovered this thing is 1959. And in 1959 it has launched a nuclear powered icebreaker fleet which name is Lenin. And since that time it has 7 icebreaker fleet and 1 nuclear container ship. And because of that, Russia's stake has increased in this area and it has become very powerful in this area. And because of that, it is not just helping the Russia's trade and commerce, it is also helping so many European countries, Asian Pacific countries for smooth trade and commerce. So this is Russia's contribution. Moving to the next slide. So next slide is about driving factors for India's NSR engagement. So the first factor we can see that the trade has been increased and it has been increased by 73%, and since past 4 years this has been increased, and the presence of also the Russian crude oil and the coal, and because all these things are needed by India, and because of that India's presence is mandatory in this region. The second thing is that trade heavy economy, which is sea route, because India's geography is sea backed and it is very favorable for India that India can trade in that manner. So because of the sea route, India's engagement has been increased in this region. The third is that Chennai-Vladivostok Maritime Corridor. So earlier there is a corridor which is called as St. Petersburg-Mumbai Corridor. So it was taking lots of time, but right now this corridor is taking just 12 days, which is 1/3 of the days which has been taken by the St. Petersburg and Mumbai corridor. So this has created a very easy transportation system and an efficient way of transportation system, and because of that India is highly interested in this region. And the fourth is that India wants to curb the control of China and Russia into this area, because these two countries are dominating this northern sea route. So India wants to curtail all their dominance and they also want to establish themselves, and because of that India is highly interested in this region. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about what is the way forward, that India will be in future also interested in this thing. Then definitely India is highly interested in this region because of the economic and political need. And the NSR Development Plan 2035 says that the cargo traffic target has been set for the year 2024 and 2023. And what is the target for the year 2024? So it is 80 million, and for the year 2030 it is 150 million. And all these targets had been decided when the West has imposed sanction on the Russia, and amid all these crises Russia is able to manage and give such kind of the targets. And the second thing is that the India's involvement will also increase because of the Russia's good relationship, and we can see that India has not highly critical about the Russia's invasion on Ukraine. It has abstained from the UN voting, and because of that we can see there is a good terms of Russia's and India relation, and they are also working towards this direction. In March 2023 we can see that Russian delegation held a meeting with the Indian business community, and they had discussed about the northern sea route. And the Rostom is a company who is taking care of this icebreaker fleet. They had also asked Indian companies to take part in northern sea route. So these are the contribution of India and Russia, and India and Russia both are contributing in this region, and India's stake is increasing day by day, and its also influence is increasing day by day. And here India is exporting and importing lots of products, especially it is importing crude oil, so many coals and minerals from this route. So this is very highly significant from India's perspective because it is fulfilling the political and economic and strategic need of the India. So moving to the next slide. So next slide is about the question. So this question has been asked in the year 2015. It means that this topic is very important. This thing has been also asked in 2018. So the question is, the term IND-ARC, sometimes seen in the news, is the name of. So your options are an indigenously developed radar system inducted into Indian defense. The option B is India's satellite to provide services to the countries of Indian Ocean Rim. C is a scientific establishment set up by India in the Antarctic region. D is India's underwater observatory to scientifically study the Arctic region. So these are the options you have to answer in the comment section. Moving to the mains part. So the mains question is, why is India taking keen resources of Arctic region? So this question has been asked in the year 2018. So this question is very important. So first of all, you have to give a brief introduction of the Arctic region. You have to give a background of the Arctic region, that who are the countries which are involved in this Arctic region, and why Arctic region is very important from the geopolitical scenario, for the economic scenario, and why it is important for the India. So first of all, you have to give a general background to the Arctic region, and then come to the question part, because they have asked about the India. So it's very important to discuss it from the India's perspective. So we already have discussed that this area provides lots of crude oil, minerals, gas. So these things are very important from India's economy, and India exports highly dependent on this route. So because of this thing, this is very important from India's point of view. On the other hand, India has also set up so many laboratory, research station, workstation, underwater laboratory. So in this way, India is not just taking the economic advantages from this route. India is also investing lots of environmentally, geographically, scientifically. So it is not just taking care of the economic needs, it is also taking care of the political need, research and development needs also. So from this perspective, this thing is very important and crucial from India's perspective. I hope you like this lecture. If you have any queries related to this lecture, kindly ask in the comment section. Thank you.